Well, I'm sorry for the slightly clickbaity title, but it's been a little while since I made a video, and so I had to lasso you back in somehow. So since the last time we met, I've been through a few life changes, and it's taken me a little while to get Whisky HQ back up and running. The Whisky Loft is now more metaphorical than literal, but I hope you will grant me some poetic license, and that's allowed. I don't want to see any scandalous tabloid headlines off the back of this. But welcome, and you're always very welcome here. It's lovely to be back amongst you. I've been keeping my ear to the whisky ground in the time that I've been gone. But one of the things that awoke me from my slumber is the news that one of my favourite whiskies is being discontinued. And whilst there's always change in this industry, and it's one of the reasons that this hobby is so exciting, I hope you can indulge me in paying homage to one of my all-time favourites. And this is it. Compass Box Spice Tree, probably the sexiest label around in the whiskey industry, I would say. It's really quite special. It's a lovely bottle as well. Now, this whiskey has quite an interesting history, and it can teach us a lot about cask maturation, which is of course a very interesting topic to whiskey nerds like you and I. But when Jim Glazer set up Compass Box, he wanted to disrupt the industry, he wanted to do things differently, and Spice Tree was one of the ways that he tried to do that. Now, sadly, I never had the chance to try the initial offering of Compass Box Spice Tree, but it was made in a way that was quite interesting and innovative for the time. They took American oak casks and inside they put old French oak staves to try and impart a spiciness into the whiskey whilst maintaining, I guess, some of those kind of toffee and vanilla and classic American oak flavours as well, trying to make a combination of those two things. Now, the Scotch Whisky Association didn't like this very much. They took umbrage to this method of making whiskey and told Compass Box that they had to stop doing it in this method. So instead, what Compass Box did is they went away and they recreated the casks with American staves on the outside and French oak heads on top and bottom, in the hope that they would replicate the flavours that they were getting from their hybrid casks that they created before. Now, this is a legendary story amongst enthusiasts because many consider that they were sticking to the letter of the law as the SWA put out. And of course, the SWA allow all sorts of alterations to be given to whiskey in order to sell it and still call it Scotch. But if Compass Box wanted to carry on doing this, they wouldn't be able to call their product Scotch, so they had to come up with a new idea. Now, I have no idea what this original whiskey tasted like, but I think that the compromise they reached clearly left them with something quite good, because it's something I really like and have liked for a very long time. So, it's probably time that we try some of this. Now, this is a blended malt, and that means that it is a blend of single malts from different distilleries, including Compass Box's own proprietary malt blend, which is something they make up largely from Highland distilleries, as I understand it. It's something that they put a lot of effort into, and it's a spirit that comes across very, very nicely. Now, this is 46.3%. It's natural colour, it's non-chill filtered, it's the Holy Trinity. And on the nose, the first thing that really hits me is a sort of brown sugar note. There's a sweetness to it, and a richness, like a kind of a sugar syrup, a brown sugar syrup of some sort. There's a slight astringent sour note when you first sniff, and I mean that in a good way. It's not a bad thing. It sort of gives way after a short moment, and you really then get the fruit, which is, I suspect, where it's coming from, that fruity note. Those classic kind of appley, apple pear kind of notes that you get from this kind of spirit. And then you get the eponymous spices that this whiskey is named after. There's cinnamon and the nutmeg, the clove, the pepper. These are those notes that are coming from the French heads of the casks, one assumes. It's kind of reminiscent of apple strudel, I would say. You know, apple and cinnamon, and it's that marriage. It's very, very pleasant on the nose. Very, very pleasant indeed. So let's try some. As you might expect, it's very oaky, kind of juicy oak flavours. It's more savoury on the palate than it is on the nose, but I wouldn't describe this as a savoury whiskey. It's spicy, as you might imagine, and there's this warmth to it that's not in a way that it kind of hits the back of your throat, but a kind of warmth to the flavours that it imparts. There's things like mulled cider in there and that apple strudel I mentioned earlier that you get on the nose. And then it kind of finishes off, it tails off with this, it's quite a long finish, but it tails off with this slight bitterness at the end. A sort of kind of tannic note, I suppose. It's very nice. When you add water to this, you get a few more zesty notes in it. You get a little bit of orange peel, and again, that kind of fits in with this slightly kind of spicy baking kind of feel that you get off this whiskey. It's very pleasant. It's a good one. It is a good winter dram, I would say, which is obviously not the time of year that we're in now, but it's very good for all year round, and certainly not as wintry as, say, a very heavily sherried spirit, which this isn't. What they get from the cask is really rather remarkable, considering that these are basically ex-American and European oak casks. It's not heavily influenced by wine or by sherry or by anything apart from probably the bourbon that's in the American oak. It's worth noting and commending Compass Box on their transparency. Obviously, not only are we talking about the ABV 46.3%, the non-chill filtration and the natural colour, but they're so transparent about their Highland malt blend that goes into this, and you can get a very, very detailed breakdown of it on their website, and they'll tell you exactly the percentages of things that went into the blend of this bottle. It includes a large portion of Dal Ewan, which set me off on this journey of finding independently bottled Dal Ewan whiskies and trying them. So that's been really, really good fun, and I highly recommend sort of digging deep into the profile of any Compass Box whiskey and looking to see what the makeup is. We're living through a very exciting time in whiskey. Changes happening all around us. New distilleries are opening and old distilleries are struggling to keep up with what that enthusiast base kind of wants. And even that dynamic is probably going to change in the coming years as some distilleries are really feeling the pinch and prices are starting to go up. And of course, there's the prospect of tariffs on the horizon for those of you who live across the pond. But change is part of life. We must enjoy the memories we had and the great things that we were able to try, knowing that not everything lasts forever. Our favourite malts will change, recipes will change, some will be discontinued. It can be hard coming to terms with those changes. But let's enjoy the great moments we've had with the drams we love and bask in those memories. Nothing lasts forever, and soon enough our new favourite dram will come along and we'll attach great memories and moments to it. So, sláinte, and cheers to Spice Tree. I've stocked up on a few bottles now that it's not going to be made anymore. But I know that soon a new great bottle will come along and take its place on my shelf, and I look forward to the day that I'm acquainted with it. Welcome back to the Whisky Loft. You're very welcome here. Do like and do subscribe, all that kind of stuff if you want to see more. And I hope to see you all again soon. Sláinte.